So an initial contact with client, with seller to be. I think we should have a few items in front of us about the seller. That way it shows that we're really informed about their area. So I'm going to recommend that you pull the public tax record for the subject property. If you have this in your area, it's called the realist tax record, which is the realtor only version. There's some valuable information we're going to ask the seller questions about for them to verify. And of course, if there's any MLS history, in St. Louis, where I live, the data goes back to 1998. Other cities, it doesn't always go back that far. But prior to this phone call, I want to know how long have they owned it, what the MLS printout looked like when they purchased it, because I want to see how much the prior owner did in capital improvements. Did the prior owner put in the new roof and the new granite countertops and rehab the kitchen? Or did this owner, because I've seen sellers put a house for sale in the MLS and that, new roof, new this and new that. They lived in the house for 3 years. They're talking about all these things that were done. It looks like the seller did them. I want to make sure I have a good feel for what they didn't do and what the prior owner did do. In addition, I want to see if there's any expireds, withdrawn, canceled, whatever you have in your area of a property was on the market but didn't sell. The reason is the seller might have been on the market before, a year earlier, for $400,000, and I do not want to go into this thing blind about what the seller's expectations are. Obviously, if it expired last year at $400,000, the price didn't match the features that were missing. If they had more features, they would have been priced right. No matter what the economy is, it's always price. If the house isn't selling for $400,000, if you dropped it to $50,000, would it sell? Of course it would, because it's the price. Now, $50,000 is a giveaway, but you get the point. If it's not selling at a particular price, is it marketing or the list price is the problem? So gather this information, the tax records, the MLS information, as far back as you can go, and just read through that and find out, has the house been listed several times? Has it sold several times? Was it ever short saled or foreclosed or anything like that? All right, let's jump into the question then. So I'm calling the seller and say, hello, I want to verify a couple things about your property. And it also says here that the tax record, by the way, is not always right, but buyers sometimes will go to your public tax record. Again, I'd like to verify a few things, if I could, off your tax record, because buyers tend to go to the public tax record and things aren't always right. So often the square footage can be listed inaccurately on the tax records. Yours says 3,321 square feet. Is that about accurate? Here's where the homeowner will jump in if they've got attic space finished, or they finished a breezeway or garage, I've seen that, or the lower level of the house if there's a basement. Well, Brian, it's not 3,321, it's more like 5,000 because we finished the basement, or the basement's finished. So we want it to be 5,000. Again, you look back at the old MLS printout and it says the property was 3,321, or in some occasions, of course, it says it was 5,000 square feet. In my neighborhood, there was a property for sale 4 times with different realtors. 2 were with the same brand. None of the MLS printouts had the exact square footage. How does that even happen? A seller has an appraisal and the square foot comes in as one number and the seller wants that. Another realtor uses the tax records. I really don't know how this happened. It was 4 agents with 4 different MLS printouts with 4 different square footages. And again, 2 of the agents, the first and the fourth, were with the same brand, different agents. So what's right and what's wrong? So we want to verify that seller about the accuracy of the square footage, because sometimes buyers will take your list price divided by a price per square foot and determine if you're right or you're wrong, seller, just based on your square footage. And some agents really believe that square footage is the best way to go. And one of the challenges with square footage is it doesn't look to see if the backyard goes straight uphill, a fall, if it backs to high tension wires or a highway. It doesn't know if the ceilings on the inside of the house are 8-foot ceilings or 9-foot. It doesn't know how well the kitchen's been done, if it's ever been redone. Price per square foot, as we're going to really explore this in one of these videos, is one of the hardest things to defend during negotiations. That your the other party doesn't believe in the price per square foot. Anyways, back to the questions. Often we find the square footage to be listed inaccurately. An appraiser says it's one thing, a tax assessor says the other. Can I ask you, what do you feel your price per square, can I ask you, what do you think your square footage is? Because the tax record says blank. It's great when the seller gets involved and they say that it's a different number, because we just kind of exposed their objectivity. If they say the square foot's larger than it really is, then they've lost a little bit of objectivity because it's their home and they think they can price it for more. The next question is, we want to ask people, the assessor says your lot size is this. I have two different versions of the tax record here, the public one and the county one, and the realtor only version. On occasion, we find that they're not the same. Can I ask, is your lot about 0.37 of an acre? Or is your lot 3.27 acres? Again, we're just trying to ask questions to remain in control of the conversation. The next thing is, the tax record says the house was built in 2002. Looks like you bought it around June 2002. Is that accurate? Again, the seller will say, well, let me think about it for a second, and they'll kind of give you feedback. The old MLS record says your house was a ranch style, but I'm looking at your tax record. It called it a story and a half. And just trying to determine which one's accurate. And so what I want you to do, agents, as you're watching this, is look at the MLS printout, the two different versions of tax records, even the historical printouts of MLSs, and look for things that are inconsistent that you can ask the homeowner about. And they're going to find the fact that you were so informed on this first phone call, they will not throw out the normal objections to you. Because apparently you've done your homework, and all you did is you printed this basic information, getting prepped for this phone call. Because after all, what's at stake on getting this listing or not getting this listing? Potentially thousands of dollars, plus the seller as a buyer, plus all the referrals. Each listing interview is like a part-time job. Make sure you get prepped for this, because it could be worth well over $10,000. All right, thanks for watching.